bong load.
Week 12, Stacks and Facts videos. It feels like Thanksgiving was yesterday, but we're right back here like we never left. Let's get straight into it. How was your guys' Thanksgiving? Started off with Brady.
Thanksgiving was good. DFS went good. I cashed my single, my cash, 2 out of 3 in the 3 max there. Betting was not good. I think I lost like 5 years off my life after that Cowboys game. But yeah, other than that, it was a good Thanksgiving, good food. Got to see family, all the good stuff, so can't complain.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Mine was degenerately trying to make back my college basketball money that I lost. Sharpie, how about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was wonderful. Spent it with some great family, good times. Got a little drunk, took a fat nap, ate some more. If I would have kept it to the best bets on this show, I would have fucking made some good money, bro. I'm just a degenerate and betted way more than I should have. So, yeah, Thanksgiving it was.
Well, hopefully we can change that for this week. Let's get straight into the quarterback position. We're going to go position by position, switching it up this Friday. Jalen Hurts is the first guy that I was looking at. No Jackson, Mahomes, or Allen on this slate, etc. I feel like Jalen Hurts might have the highest upside on the slate, $7,300 on DK, $8,400 highest price quarterback on the FanDuel slate. And I was also looking at Tom Brady. Highest team total on the slate is the Bucs this week. And Tom Brady actually leads the league in pass attempts right now, $7,600 on DK and $8,200 on FanDuel. Second highest price quarterback on the slate. Brady, where are you looking at the top range this week?
Yeah, quarterback's weird this week. There's not a lot of guys that I'm excited about. I think Hurts is always in play with his legs there. So he's somebody I'm looking at. And like you said, Tom Brady, I think is a really good matchup. But the guy I'm going to be going to the most this week is actually going to be Justin Herbert. Going against Denver, he's 6,600. So, kind of cheap there. And he's doing well this year, averaging 25 points per game. So I think it's going to be Herbert for me. But if I was to go up, it probably would be Brady or Hurts. But I want to save some salary there with Herbert.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on Justin Herbert. We'll talk about some Justin Herbert stacks later on in the video when we get to the wide receiver position. Moving down in the middle of the range a little bit, I kind of like Matthew Stafford, back-to-back 2 interception games. Definitely due for a bounce back. Highest game total on the slate this week. And then Aaron Rodgers practiced today, so he's a full go for the Packers on Sunday. Sharpie, was there any quarterback props you're looking at for this week?
We need to bring this up, too. We don't cap or do any of our shit together, guys. It's kind of weird how me, Brady, Billy end up on a show and we're talking about the same damn motherfucker. So Jalen Hurts' rush prop, guys, he's at 48.5. He's hit this shit 64% of the times, guys. He's averaging 56 a game, and he's hit this number 48 in 5 straight games. They're starting to use him as the runner that he is. I've been preaching it all year. He's the second highest rushing quarterback in the history of the NFL next to Lamar Jackson, and he's always near 60 yards a game. So we're just going to keep banking on Hurts' rushing prop, dude. It's hitting at a nice percentage, and it's going to hit at a good percentage all year.
Yeah,
and
definitely we'll keep that.
The other prop I was looking at quarterback-wise was a Ryan Tannehill interception. It's minus 145 at Caesars. It's a little juicy. Some people don't care about the juice, so I've got to let people and tell people about this right here. We know New England shuts down quarterbacks, guys. And Tennessee, we don't know who their running back is right now. Is it Hillard? Is it fucking Foreman? It sure as fuck ain't Peterson because they freaking dropped his ass after he vultured all my money last week. But that's why you're gone, Mr. Peterson. So Tannehill on the season's got 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. A 50-50 ratio versus a team that knows to shut down the run. I'd be looking towards a Tannehill interception this week.
I like it, Sharpie. Brady, was there anything else you're looking at the quarterback position, like some value quarterbacks?
Yeah, I guess the only value guy that I was looking at is going to be Cam Newton. He surprisingly did a lot better than I thought last week. I had a decent amount of him at 5,100. He scored 26.16 DraftKings points, so he looked good. And I mean, it's a play where you know for a fact that if it's at the 1 yard line, he's going to get a touchdown. So like nice floor there, 5,600. What do you have last week? You have 46 rushing yards. So yeah, I don't mind Cam Newton at 5,600.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Cam Newton's price tag difference between the websites of FanDuel and DraftKings definitely stood out to me too. $8,000 on FanDuel, but only $5,600 on DK. Definitely stood out to me. But let's go over to the running back position. We're going to start it off at the top. Christian McCaffrey, highest priced player on the slate. Obviously, so back to being the best running back in the league. Newton, I don't think he's gonna, he's always has the opportunity to vulture a touchdown in the touchdown department. But I think CMC is definitely due for that. Brady, what other running backs were you looking at this week at the high end?
Yeah, this is tough for running back because this week I like so many of these guys up top. You have Jonathan Taylor, 9,100. He's in play. Christian McCaffrey, 9,000. Austin Eckler, 8,400. Najee Harris, 8,200. Dalvin Cook, 8,100. Like, I like all of those guys. If I had to pick my top three, I think it would be Christian McCaffrey, number one. And then I really like Dalvin Cook against San Francisco, who, run defense is not that great, kind of middle of the road there, 8,100. So he's very cheap. Last 2 weeks, 22.5 DraftKings points, and then 20.8 the week before. So it looks like he's getting back in rhythm there. So Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, and I don't mind some Eckler as well at 8,400. Eckler, I mean, he's able to catch passes. He's like Christian McCaffrey a little bit. So yeah, Eckler, what is he? 8,400. I'd be those three right there.
Yeah, I was looking at a couple of different running backs in that range. I'm glad that you told me about the Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler. I was looking at Joe Mixon. He's had over 25 DK points in 4 out of his last 5 games. Gets another good matchup this week against the Steelers' rush defense that allowed 4 rushing touchdowns last week. So I definitely like me some Joe Mixon. And I also like some James Robinson, $6,200, $7,500 on FanDuel. The Falcons give up the 4th most fantasy points to the running back position this year. And James Robinson has scored in 6 out of his last 7 games played. So like me some James Robinson in mid-range. Going down a little bit, if Aaron Jones is out, we're going to go back down to the A.J. Dillon bandwagon. 4.8 yards per carry last week, 6 catches. I feel like he's going to have a way better week this week than he did last week. What other value running backs were you looking at this week? Because there weren't a lot.
Yeah, I think you touched on the big one. If Aaron Jones does play, 6,000 for Jones, it's going to be the cheapest he's been all year by a mile. So I'll be looking there. If he is out, then it will be A.J. Dillon, 5,900. Other than that, I think Myles Gaskin's interesting. He was somebody that was on last week because he's going to get a lot of opportunities and he's cheap. They actually priced him down 100 after a big game against the Jets with 89 yards. I believe he had a reception touchdown as well. He's now 5,600. A lot tougher of a matchup, but he's still, if he's going to get like 20 plus carries, a couple catches in there, I think he's somebody that I would look at in terms of a cheap play. But other than that, there's not much down here.
Yeah, I definitely do feel you. One of the things I was looking at, I like Jalen Hurts a lot, but I think I'm going to go back to the running back well here. Boobie Sanders came back last week, and he was looking really good, man. The Eagles, well, before I say about this, one thing I've been looking at of recent is start looking at these NFL stats in a 4 to 5 week last week's sample size rather than a full season sample size. And the Eagles have been one of the most run-heavy teams in the league in the last 4 to 5 weeks. And Boobie Sanders came back last week, man, and he had 5.9 yards per attempt last week with 16 rushes and 94 yards. Gets a good matchup this week against the New York Giants. I like his price tag at $5,800, $6,100 on FanDuel. I think I'm going to be overweight on Miles Sanders this week. And the other running back I was looking at, this leads right into my boy Sharpie up there at the top right. Rex Burkhead, $4,200 on DK and $5,700 on FanDuel. Not the sexiest of play, but he had 18 rushes last week for 40 yards, and it was only 2.2 yards per touch, but just the volume alone in this matchup is definitely noteworthy. Sharpie, what are you looking at here at the running back position from a prop perspective?
We're going to be talking about running backs, it looks like, for a wee bit, like wee man, because I'm going to go see a wee man tonight. So here we go. Value-wise, guys, I'm not DFS or whatnot or don't know the prices on that shit. But Coleman or Johnson for the Jets, bro. They're going up versus the Texans. Pick your damn poison. One of those dudes is banking 20-plus points.
Yeah,
so I don't know which one's going to do it, but one of those dudes is producing very well versus that shitty defense. And Hillard's another option for Tennessee. He's their catching back, and he ran really well. So I don't know if they're going to use Foreman or Hillard, but, dude, if one of those get used as a starting running back, there's going to be gnarly value in those guys, in my opinion. But
I definitely do agree with you on the Ty Johnson one. That was one running back that I didn't go over, but I think he could be the free square this week.
I think though Tevin Coleman is going to get the pull. So let's just get through this. Billy always already touched on James Robinson, guys. His anytime touchdown is a minus 105 on DK. Billy said 6 out of 7 games. We're going to say 6 out of 6. That one game he didn't score, he got hurt on the first drive, guys. So that's not a game, guys. He got hurt. That's shit. Like, you give that up to injury, in my opinion. So he's 6 for 6. And at a coin toss at a minus 105 on a 6 out of his last 6 games versus the Falcons' 25th rush D, allowing 123 yards a game. And we know he's used in the pass game too. That just seems too easy in my eyes. Then we get over to that bum Burkhead, guys. His yards is at 36.5. If I could trust the Texans coach to give him another 18 carries, that's easy as shit on this Jets 29th worst rush defense, allowing 132 yards a game. So that's a look I'd look at playing. But I like Tevin Coleman's rush yards more at 36.5. They have Johnson at 25.5. They're seeing what I'm seeing. Coleman's been used as that first down, second down back with the Jets, even when Carter was down. So if Coleman's going to get the bulk of the load versus this Texans, his anytime touchdown is at a plus 230 on MGM. And going up versus the Texans, who are a top 5 team and allowing rushing touchdowns to running backs, that just seems too easy to me. Coleman and Johnson were plus 190 to 230. If you spread a half unit on both, I see it being a profitable day. Then we get into our boy McCaffrey. I don't know what his rushing and receiving prop is going to be yet. 3 weeks ago, it was 106. Then it was 115 last week. So if they put another 9-10 on it, 124-25, cool. We're going to bank McCaffrey over until they put it into the 140s. He's too good of a running back to not be up there. So he's just been free money every week. So if they're going to keep devaluing the best running back in football, then so be it. We'll take all the value from him. I already mentioned Hillard. They haven't put out his receiving props or rush props. I'd look more towards his receiving props. Bill Belichick knows if they can't run the ball, they're not going to be successful. So they're going to have to run a lot of short screens, a lot of run. They're going to have to do stuff at the line, in my opinion. I don't know why they're 7-point dogs, but the books aren't fucking dumb. So if they are down, that means Hillard's in the game. So his receiving props would be something I'd look at there for a running back. And then Billy played this play a few weeks ago, guys, and he's hit it 5 out of his last 6 games. We're going to the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, guys. What do we get when we get there? We get to that slug them out, 9-3, 16-6 type of football game, guys. And what does Mike Tomlin like to do? He likes to draw the game out, Najee Harris's attempts is at 17.5, guys. He is going to have more than 20 attempts if Pittsburgh has a chance in this game, and the books say they have a chance. So to keep this game close, they're going to have to keep giving the ball to Najee, and I could bank on at least 20-plus carries.
What was
up,
the
my
juice
guy?
on that? Quick question.
It was 16.5 minus 125 at Caesars, or 17.5 at like minus 104.
And you said the 16.5 was at what?
The 16.5 was at minus 125, and he's hit that 5 out of the last 6 games.
You said that was at Caesars, right?
Right.
Caesars in New Jersey. All right, my bad. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Nah, you're writing down. That's money. That's free money. Free monies. And then 2 more running backs, guys, and then I'll probably be more quieter while they talk because I was more running back heavy in this. We're going to go to the Bucks Colts. My guy Taylor didn't hit his receiving prop last week, but he really did. But if you watch the game, he didn't because his stat box said he had 19 yards when his prop was at 22.5. He had his first catch was for minus 4 yards, and I hate him more for that than anything else. But we're going to go right back to Jonathan Taylor over 22.5 receiving yards, guys. He's averaging 29 a game. The last 6 games, he's been more used in the running attack. And we're going up versus this Bucks defense, who's number 1 versus the rush. So, yes, they're going to pound the ball, but they're also going to use Taylor in the screen game. And what has killed these Tampa Bay linebackers? Running backs coming out the backfield. So, they're going to use Taylor in the passing game this week, and 22.5 is too easy. Last but not least, our boy Javonte Williams. Hey, how's no one talking about nobody versus these sorry ass Chargers, man? These guys can't stop the rush. They can't stop the rush if their fucking life depended on
It's a
it.
Melvin Gordon revenge game spot, man. I'm in
It
there with you
sounds
guys.
good,
I'm
but I
in.
started looking in. I pulled up reports like why are they splitting these guys' carries? They did this on purpose to get to this point of the year, guys. They wanted to keep this kid healthy, so they've got legit almost touch for touch all the way up into this point. Now at this point, guys, it's about winning fucking games and playing your best players. He leads his team in explosive plays, 12 yards or more, by like nine different plays from Melvin Gordon. So he is the way more explosive running back. And then he leads the NFL in missed tackles. This guy fucking shakes people, guys. His yards are at 48.5, and I expect the Broncos to lean on Williams today and use Gordon more in the red zone type. So I'm looking at Williams as 48.5. It's tempting.
It does sound very tempting, but you know what's even more tempting than that? Getting yourself scaped up. Make sure you head over to Manscaped. It's the holiday season. Black Friday's today. You got to use Pub Sports Radio promo code when checking out to get 20% off and free shipping and all deliveries. So shouts to our sponsors over at Manscaped before we get to the wide receiver position. And we're back to the wide receiver position. Leading the way this week is going to be Cooper Kupp, $9,600 and $9,500. He will continue to smash. Just been having a historical year. Brady, I don't even have to ask you. I already know that you're going to play Cooper Kupp this week. But Brady was talking about it a little bit earlier. Keenan Allen, $7,400, $7,000 on FanDuel. He's had 11 targets in each of his last 4 games from Justin Herbert, and that's resulted into 35 catches for 391 yards. This is the Keenan Allen of old. He's going to absolutely smash against Denver. But Brady, where were you looking at the wide receiver position this week? There's a lot of wide receivers. I'm happy here with you to sort it out, man. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so up top, like you mentioned, Cooper Kupp, but I think this price tag on Devontae Adams is really disrespectful. Only 8,600. We saw what he did last week: 8 targets, 7 receptions, 35.5 DraftKings points. This is a guy that he probably should be priced up there with Cooper Kupp. So I think he's way too cheap still. He was 8,400 last week. He's 8,600. I think that's going to only go up week after week. And this is another week I'm going to be on him. And then, like you mentioned, Keenan Allen, 7,400. I'm going to be pairing him up with some Herbert. I really do like that stack this week. And then one more I'll throw out there up top is going to be Deebo Samuel. He's been getting it done all year. 22.6 DraftKings points on average. And he was the other guy that I was looking at. So, but yeah, especially Keenan Allen at 7,400 and then Devontae Adams.
I definitely do agree with you on Deebo Samuel. I like him a little bit more on FanDuel, currently leading wide receivers right now in fantasy leagues and half-a-point PPR leagues right now is Deebo Samuel being used in all facets of the game for the 49ers. Definitely like me some Deebo Samuels at $8,100, $7,900 on DK this week. I also like me some Chris Godwin. He has had at least 5 catches in each of his last 6 games since Antonio Brown has been out. So, love me some Chris Godwin. But even in a better matchup, though, is Mike Evans, his teammate, $7,200, $7,500. The way they attack the Colts defense this year has been the perimeter wide receiver, and that bodes well for Mike Evans this week. I think he's going to absolutely smash this week. Is there anybody that you're looking at the high end on wide receiver before we get into the mid-range?
Yeah, you touched on it. I think Chris Godwin and both Mike Evans are in great spots here against the Colts. So I'm going to be looking at those two. If I had to pick between one, it would be the Chris Godwin at $7K. Another guy that I think is pretty interesting, Deontay Johnson. I think he's very underrated. This is a guy that's consistently getting like 10 to 13 targets a week, averaging 18.1 DraftKings points. So I don't mind him as well. But yeah, especially Godwin. He's going to be in pretty much every one of my lineups this week, I feel like.
I think once we get into the tight end position, preluding it off a little bit, you're going to be off of a little bit of Deontay Johnson. But rolling on to the mid-range, what was your favorite mid-range wide receiver play this week?
Mid-range, there's a couple of them that do stick out. I mean, I don't mind going back to T. Higgins, 5,400. He definitely disappointed last week, only 3 targets, 2 receptions. But before that, he was kind of on a little bit of a, I don't want to say a roll, but he was being like very consistent. So I don't mind going back to him there. I think Brandon Ayuk's interesting, 5,300. He's somebody that decided to finally wake up. Somebody that I expected him to, do a lot better this year, kind of shit the bed throughout the first, 7-8 weeks. But now he's finally kind of getting it together. So I don't mind him as well. Who else did stick out? Michael Pittman Jr., 5,600 was another guy. So I think those were kind of the mid-range guys I was looking at.
Yeah, definitely do feel you on Michael Pittman Jr. One thing that I thought that was very interesting, the Bucs haven't allowed opponents to throw on 62% of their offensive snaps this season. So basically it's a bunch of throwing the ball against the Bucs, and Michael Pittman has been the main beneficiary of the Colts passing game this year. And I don't think that the Colts are going to throw 20 times and Jonathan Taylor just goes off for all the touchdowns and all the monies like he did last week. But rolling down a little bit more, I think the same exact story fits well for Brandon Cooks this week. $5,800, $6,500. I think the Texans should be able to move the ball a lot more efficiently this week. Going down a little bit more, Elijah Moore, $5,600, $6,400 on FanDuel. He led the Jets last week with 11 targets, 8 catches for 141 yards, and a 62-yard touchdown. He gets another good matchup this week against the Houston Texans. Jacoby Myers, I haven't really been impressed by the Titans secondary this year. I definitely feel like Jacoby Myers lacks in the touchdown department, but he'll make up for it in the volume department. And I think Devontae Adams' price tag being declined a little bit is due to the fact that he might see some Jalen Ramsey coverage. And if he does see some Jalen Ramsey coverage, it might be my boy, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Looking absolutely great last week coming off the IR. His price tag, $5,600, pretty cheap on DK2 at $4,200. Going down a little bit more, my favorite value wide receiver of the slate this week is going to be Van Jefferson, $5,400, $4,900. I think there's value on both secondary Rams wide receivers, but I'll definitely be overweight on the Rams pass catchers this week, as we talked about Cooper Kupp when we started off the wide receiver position. And then sneakily, $4,400, $5,600 is going to be Laviska Shenault. Jamal Agnew landed on the IR last week, so I feel like Laviska Shenault should return back to his role in using all facets of the game for the Jaguars. I like his price tag this week on both websites. Sharpie, where are you looking at the wide receiver position this week?
I only got 2 wide receivers for you guys, and it's in the same game. And y'all already say my guys, your guys is my guys, so they're our guys. Cooper Kupp, 7.5 catches. Like, that's a gimme, guys. It's the stupidest. I don't know why he ain't at an 8.5 yet. So at -130, it's just like a gimme bet. You keep betting Cooper Kupp's receptions over and let Cooper Kupp be Cooper Kupp. And in that same game, Billy already said it. Valdez-Scantling, like 40.5 yards. This guy gets that on 1 catch. So we're going to keep playing his 40.5 yards until Aaron Rodgers stops throwing this guy 3 deep balls a game. So we're going to just keep banking on 2 guys who are winning us money.
I like it, Sharpie. I wrote those down because I haven't really looked at props too much. But shouts to Jeff Slaughter over at Southtown 101 before we get into the tight end position. I'm going to start it up at the tight end position. Man, I'm bringing the heat. We're going to be off for a couple of weeks, but we're coming right back on for the fucking bandwagon truthers. You better hop back on this week because we're all aboard. The Bengals have allowed the second most fantasy points over the last 4 weeks to the tight end position, and Eric Ebron is doubtful for this week, and he did not practice today. So you know what that means. Look left. Look right, all aboard the Pat Freiermuth bandwagon. $4,200, $5,300 on FanDuel this week. Pat Freiermuth week is back in action. But Brady, who's your favorite tight end play this week?
Yeah, it's actually really close between Freiermuth at 4,300 and then Rob Gronkowski at 4,400. Yeah, the reason being when Gronk's playing, I mean, he's either scoring a touchdown or last week he had 8 targets, 6 receptions, 71 yards, averaging 14.3. I mean, this price tag just seems like way, way off, especially with no Antonio Brown. So yeah, Rob Gronkowski, 4,400, then Freiermuth 43. I think that's where I'm going to be at for most of tight end here.
Yeah, I was also looking at a couple of other tight ends. George Kittle, he's been kind of returning to back to consistency. And there was only 22 pass attempts in the 49ers offense last week, and Kittle still got there. I definitely think they're going to throw a little bit more this week. He's the highest priced tight end on the FanDuel slate, $6,700, $6,400 on DK this week. Going down a little bit more, I like me some Dallas Goedert, $5,900 on FanDuel, $4,800 on DK. Without Ertz so far in this offense, he's averaged 5.6 targets, 55 receiving yards. Gets a good matchup versus the New York Giants, a team that we always like to pick at the tight end position. And I don't really like Devontae Smith's matchup this week too much. So I like me some Dallas Goedert. And then Tyler Higbee, $5,400. If you haven't caught the theme of this video yet, but we're going to be playing all the Rams, $5,400 on FanDuel, $4,200 on DK. Woods led the team in red zone targets this year. So without him in the lineup, Higbee's touchdown production has gone up, scored in the last game for the Rams. And I think he can score this week, $5,400. Like I said, $4,200 on DK. A little bit too cheap for my liking. I will be playing me some Tyler Higbee. But Sharpie, was there any tight ends that stood out to you in the prop market, or they haven't even came out with tight end props yet?
They've came out with props, but not everyone that you would like. But you brought up old Patty Freiermuth and his touchdown props at plus 225. And we know Ben's going to his tight end in the fucking red zone. We've seen it 100 times out of 100 times. It is what it is. And if he's the main tight end, his yards is at 40.5, his catches is at 4.5 at plus money. I'd look towards his yards, but I'd have to dig more deeper into it. I love fading the fucking Eagles with tight ends. So Evan Ingram, his yards are a little too high for me. They have it at 39.5. They have not put out his receptions. I'm expecting the 2.5, and I'm going to smack the shit out of him if they put it 2.5. He averages around 2.5 a game. So he's getting 5 targets, and we know the Eagles allow the most receptions to the tight end position and the second most yards to the tight end position. So Daniel Jones likes to throw the ball to his tight end too. So I expect Ingram to catch 3-4 passes. I don't know about his yards, but that's what the Eagles do. They allowed the tight ends to eat.
I like it, Sharpie. But before we head on out of here, we're going to give out our favorite play of the slate. My favorite play of the slate for me personally, I think I can't get off of this one. I think I'm going to go overweight on GPPs. I'm going to go with James Robinson, especially over there on FanDuel at $7,600. He's going to be my favorite play of the slate. Sharpie, who is your favorite play of the slate for props?
We're going to go with Cooper Kupp over 7.5 receptions, guys. He is damn near close on his way to being MVP. Go sprinkle a little $10 on it. Like this, if the year that a quarterback doesn't fucking hit MVP, it's gonna be this guy, and that there's nobody just standing out. Too many people are missing games to injuries, and he might shatter every receiving record known to man, and he's still on pace for it. So maybe honestly, a little beer money.
I don't know if it's because of his skin complexion, but people aren't really recognizing that my man's just having a historical year. I just want to be on the bandwagon and benefit for the last couple of weeks that we have the NFL. So keep it coming. I love that. Best bet. Rams, other receiver props that we're looking at was Van Jefferson, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Higbee, for anybody that's this late into the video or just tuning in. Brady, favorite prop or daily fantasy play for this weekend?
Yeah, this is the tough one, but I think I'm going to go with my man, Keenan Allen. He's somebody that I played, pretty much every week. He's really consistent. He's safe. I feel comfortable with putting him in a ton of lineups here. So, yeah, give me Keenan Allen, 7,400, hoping he and Herbert get a couple touchdowns.
I love it. But until next time, which is going to be next Wednesday, where can they find you, Brady?
DFS_numbers on Twitter, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. No UFC this week, so my life's been pretty boring throughout the week. I've been sleeping too much, but hopefully getting back to it next week and finish the year strong with 3 UFC cards, and then we have a month break from UFC.
You haven't been losing money on college basketball. I don't know what you've been doing, but Sharpie, where can they find you at?
Y'all can find me at Sharpie's Bets on Twitter, up in that Pub Sports Radio Discord, or at the Ontario Improv Comedy Show tonight, baby. Let's fucking go.
Where's the bang bang, Preston? Come on.
I can't breathe. Pub Sports Radio. Come find us in Southtown 101. Subscribe on YouTube and all platforms.